Welcome, everyone. We'll just wait for the attendees to populate. Give it a minute or two. Just make sure we see everyone who we're expecting in the attendees, and then all right. All right, I see all of our applicants for this evening and attendees so far, Robert. So if you'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order.
All right, yes. So it's December 11th, 2023, 6:32 p.m. And I now call to order this regular meeting of the Jersey City Historic Preservation Commission.
Please be advised that in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, the notice of the time, date, and place of this regularly scheduled meeting of the Jersey City Historic Preservation Commission has been provided to the Jersey Journal, the Jersey City Reporter, and Ellis Specialito on Friday, December 8th. Same notice has been provided to the Jersey City Clerk for posting on the bulletin board outside of the clerk's office in City Hall and for posting on the city website. I have proof of this notice here in evidence.
Okay, and this will be B1 in evidence for tonight's meeting.
Thanks, Bridget. All right, we'll do a roll call attendance. Commissioner Amatuzzo? Paul, I think you're muted. Got it?
I'm here.
All right, cool. Commissioner Garriga?
Here.
Commissioner Sandkamp?
Here.
Commissioner Gunther is absent. Commissioner Lewis? Oh, Kelly, I didn't hear you.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, here.
All right, Commissioner Sakong is absent. Commissioner Blazak?
Here.
Commissioner Cronin?
Present.
Vice Chair Gucciardo is absent, and Chairman Gordon.
Present.
Okay, there are 7 members of the commission in attendance. 5 affirmative votes are needed for a certificate of appropriateness. Next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the last HPC meeting on October 23rd. Does anyone have any questions, comments, corrections? If not, staff recommends a motion to approve those minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sorry, who made the motion, Maggie?
I have Kelly and then seconded by Tony.
Thank you.
All right, we'll do a roll call on this. Commissioner Garriga?
Abstain.
Okay, Commissioner Sandkamp?
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis?
Aye.
Commissioner Blazak?
Abstain.
Commissioner Cronin?
Aye.
Commissioner Amatuzzo?
Aye.
Okay, and Chairman Gordon.
Aye.
Should also note Vice Chair Gucciardo is absent. Okay, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 votes yes, no nays, and 3 abstentions. The minutes from October 23rd are approved. Correspondence, all application materials are linked through the blue links on tonight's agenda. We're going to carry announcements to the end of the meeting so that we can discuss January 2024's meetings and going back in person. And that just leaves open public comment. If there are any members of the public in attendance this evening who would like to speak regarding matters of historic preservation that are not on tonight's agenda, please use the raise hand function at the bottom of the screen. If you're on the phone, you can press *9. Right, so Jim, I see a hand raised. I don't know if you want to address the commission now, but you have an application on tonight's agenda. So if you're not in public comment, you can just lower your hand. There we go. All right. Staff sees no hands raised and recommends a motion to open and close public comment.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Came back up. I don't know if that was intentional.
I don't think it was.
Okay.
We can always reopen if it wasn't, but I don't. He's the applicant for one of the applications. Hope the rest of the meeting goes a little bit better for me in terms of speaking. He's the attorney for one of the applications later. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. All right, Robert, if you want to go ahead and call the first case in old business.
That's case H 20-116. The applicant is Alex Leon and Maria Leon owners. Address is 11 Erie Street. And this application is for a certificate of appropriateness for the construction of a bulkhead with pergola that is obliquely visible from the public right-of-way at a previously approved roof deck, interior renovations, and an ADA accessible entry ramp at the ground floor at an altered contributing Greek Revival mixed-use building in the Harsimus Cove Historic District, built circa 1855. This application was carried from the August 15th, 2022 regular HPC meeting.
Okay. You guys should be able to unmute yourself, turn your cameras. Great. Alex, I promoted you. Are you going to give testimony on this tonight?
If I need to, I'm not.
Okay, then, well, we'll just have you hang.
Let Umberto take the lead on this.
Okay, we'll have you hang out there, and if for some reason you decide you want to give testimony, we can swear you in then.
Thank you.
All right, Umberto, we're gonna go ahead and swear you in.
Okay,
Just 1 second, please, sorry. Could you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And if you can state and spell your full name.
Humberto Ramos,
Can you spell that, sir?
HUMBERTORAMOS.
Okay. I think, does anybody else hear that echoing?
Yeah, we're getting a little, I don't know if you guys are sitting next to each other. I know I muted Alex. All right, why don't we try, Umberto, why don't you just try to quickly talk, see if that addressed the issue?
Does that sound better now?
Yes.
It does. Yeah, Alex, I think you could also lower your volume on your computer a little bit. That'll also help too. It looks like you guys are in the same space. Okay, cool. Umberto, we're just gonna qualify you quickly because this is the first time that you presented in front of the HPC. If you could just give a very brief description of your qualifications, including if you're licensed in the state of New Jersey.
So I'm an architect in the state of Florida. I applied for licensure in the state of New Jersey. My license has been approved, and I submitted the letter for the certification. So that's in progress. I sent an email earlier today to find out the status and if they had already assigned the license, but I haven't heard back. But basically, it has been approved.
Okay, and how many years have you been practicing architecture?
I've been practicing architecture for over 20 years.
Okay, great. Staff recommends that Mr. Ramos be qualified as an expert in the field of architecture. And you should be able to share your screen and take the commission through the proposal for 11 Erie Street.
Sure. Okay, so can everyone see that, the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So this is the building at 11 Erie Street. This is a rendering of the proposal. And basically what we're doing is there was a previous approval which addressed primarily interior modifications and also installation of this guardrail and a roof deck. It also included replacement of the existing bulkhead with a glass enclosure. And also I believe restoration of the cornice, top and bottom. So in what we are submitting now, we are increasing the size of the bulkhead to the maximum allowed, or just below the maximum allowed, and then extending a pergola to create a covered area. From the front of the building, you will not see any of this. So it looks, somewhat from this elevation view, it looks large and more imposing, but in reality, you won't see it at all from the front. And you're gonna see a small area from the side, but minimal amount. The other thing we're requesting is the addition of a ramp here in the front, which you will enter here through this gate, ramp up to the entry door here, and then we will also have another gate here with steps. So now I'll go ahead and show. This is the information for the site, located on Erie Street, across the street from the old police station. This is what the building looks like currently. And these are the floor plans. So there are no change. We're not requesting any changes to the second, third, and basement levels. That basically remains as previously approved. On the ground floor, all we are requesting is obviously the addition of the ramp, and we are also reconfiguring the kitchen area. So obviously that's not something that impacts the building. On the roof, the original bulkhead this is the design of the original bulkhead. And at one point we were hoping to do a full sunroom, but now what we're proposing is just going to a bulkhead area just under the 100 square feet that's allowed. The roof deck was approved under the previous permit, as well as the guardrail here. And let me go to some other sections. So here we're showing, actually, yeah, you kind of saw this elevation already. Here we're just showing the door at 9 Erie Street. We're gonna replicate this door, which is original, to replace the existing door. Here's our detail showing what we are proposing. Okay, so here in this enlarged elevation, we're showing the ramp. Let me zoom that in a bit. So this is what we're proposing. Currently, there exists let me see if that shows up. There exists, the neighboring property here already has a concrete wall with an iron fence on above it, which kind of we're aligning with. We're proposing to align with that. And that's basically it. Looking at sight lines from the front, you're not going to see any of the bulkhead. From all the way across the Bay Street, which is kind of like the lateral view of the building, you may see just a slight corner of the bulkhead wall, which was increased in height. And from these pictures here, you'll see more or less what that will look like. So this is the bulkhead, the raised wall as it is now, and we will be cutting back a section of that bulkhead to make it less visible. And let's see here. And this, from this angle, you really don't see much of it. And then actually. Yeah, here you don't see it. Here what you're seeing there is the brick wall that's on the north side of the bulkhead. And that's pretty much it. Any questions?
Okay, any commissioners have any questions?
Guess I just had a question about what was originally approved as a bulkhead.
What was approved as a bulkhead was basically this was replacing the original enclosure of the bulkhead, which was a stud wall covered with roofing material, sheathing and roofing material, to a glass enclosure. So in essence, the footprint would remain as existing, and all we were doing was changing the enclosure to glass. So in our new request, we want to extend the bulkhead to the maximum allowed, to create more of a space up there.
So this new extension is not creating any more visibility for
No,
the bulkhead because it's moving inboard. So,
right, exactly.
okay. That's question one. And then question two was the front areaway, the ironwork. Did you select the ironwork from an existing or adjacent, or how did you select the ironwork?
It's this, this is what we would like to use, and primarily the reason for using this type of ironwork, it's there's nothing like it in the area as far as we know. But the reason for selecting that is because on the elevation at the top, there are diamonds in the design of the cornice. So we thought it'd be a nice thing to sort of pick up on. That's pretty much it. But otherwise, if you see a picture that we're showing here, this is more or less what you see in the area. So sort of similar, but not exactly. I think it's cleaner looking. That was our idea.
Is that
Okay.
selected like from a catalog?
It is.
Do you know who the manufacturer or who it's from? It looks like something from like the Lawler catalog. So I would be I wouldn't be surprised if that's been approved elsewhere. I don't know if based on more evidence on other sites, but I seems like something that we may have approved at some point somewhere in Jersey City.
Okay.
So I guess my question was, if there was there any existing ironwork railings on the front of, at this facade, or in the adjacent buildings that were of the same design?
Let me see if I have a picture here. There you go. This one might, let's see if it shows. Yeah, this is, you can see here what's existing next door. But yeah, you really can't see a whole lot there, but it's pretty basic looking. Not a great picture. But
Well, I think
Yeah.
it's admittedly a bad photo. If you go up a little bit on this sheet, there's a 1938 photo, which might answer Tony's question as well. It's a bad photo, can't really see much, but
Yeah, it doesn't really look like there was ironwork in the front of it.
No,
So that was my question. You answered it. Thank you.
And I have just a question on what is the existing material on the south facing portion of the bulkhead, and is that proposed to remain the same or is that changing? Because that seems to be what we're getting an oblique view of.
right. That basically is a stud wall. It's the party wall between the two, 9 Erie Street and 11 Erie Street. It's a stud wall that extends up, and we've upgraded the wall. You know, the wood in there was in poor shape, so it was restored. And it's just gonna have sheathing, and we're proposing to clad that in a brick veneer. So what you will see from Bay Street, the little bit of what you're gonna see, you'll see brick.
And what is it now?
Currently, it's just like a roofing membrane.
Okay, so it's really kind of unfinished, if anything.
Correct.
Have you thought about doing? Yeah, it's just interesting. And sometimes we see brick bulkheads, but I'm almost wondering if stucco, like a light stucco,
Right.
color would be preferable than a brick veneer here.
We reached out to the organization that does the murals with the idea of maybe doing a mural on this side and what little you see on the bulkhead. But I mean, that was an option, but we haven't been, unfortunately, nobody has reached back to us. So for now, we're gonna stick with, you know, just finishing it. I mean, we'll do stucco as well. We're fine with stucco.
I'm just thinking, I don't know if anyone else has an opinion on that, but sometimes if a bulkhead is brick and it's sometimes it calls a little attention to itself. Like if you look up and you see a little bit of red brick up there, as opposed to either what's there now or like a more of a neutral stucco finish, maybe. You know, we can think about that if anyone else has an opinion on that.
I agree with you, Brian, on that. This is Commissioner Amatuzzo. I think if it was just a stucco color, it may disappear better.
I would agree as well. Just something that kind of blends into the sky more.
So do you guys want it to stay the same or change in color?
Is that a question to who's that a question to?
You and Tony, or whoever else agreed.
That was me.
I think a neutral kind of neutral finish, stucco finish would be better, like a gray finish or
Okay.
something that blends into the blends a
agree with
little
that.
more than what I think a brick would on a bulkhead.
I think it would also blend in better with the south facade of number 9 that we're seeing.
Right. So
That
that
will
seems
most
that
likely never change.
that seems to be unpainted stucco.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's fine.
Okay.
I would agree.
Okay, any other questions, comments?
And the other thing I would add about the iron, just the idea of ironwork, I think is fine. I think historically this was a storefront and now it's changing use to residential at the ground floor. So I have no problem with that kind of added as security there. And I don't know if anyone has any issue with the design, but I think it's kind of maybe it's slightly too ornate, but I don't really have an issue with it.
I don't have an issue with the design of the ironwork or the fact that it's being added as this is changing from commercial to residential.
Okay,
I don't have an
any
issue unless there's previous iteration of ironwork there that we're trying to replicate. But since there isn't, I don't take issue.
Okay. Any other questions, comments before we move to public comment? Okay. No other questions or comments, so we can open this to the public. If there are any members of the public in attendance who would like to provide comments on this application, please use the raised hand function at the bottom of the screen. Alternatively, you can press *9 if you're on the phone. All right, staff sees no new hands raised, and would recommend a motion to open and close public comment.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we'll go into staff comments. I will go ahead and share my staff report. And go down to the staff recommendations and comments. So we think this project is mostly consistent with Secretary of the Interior. We went back and forth with this applicant for quite some time on finding the right middle ground for their project, because they had the previously approved roof deck and bulkhead, which are both the roof deck size is larger than we permit now, but because they had the approval, they still have open permits on it, so they're allowed to complete that size of the roof deck. So we worked with them to find the right bulkhead size that fit within the current zoning. It was kind of like a weird thing because you have the roof deck size that's permitted by the old zoning, but the new bulkhead, which is governed by the new zoning. So went back and forth with them, found a middle ground that staff is happy with, and we hope the applicant is happy with, believe they're happy with. That being said, everything that's proposed here is consistent with what we see in the historic districts, and we don't think it's going to have an adverse effect on the Harsmas Cove Historic District or on the resource itself. So we have some conditions that we recommend that the HPC adopt along with approving the certificate of appropriateness. Most of them are standard conditions, but I will just take us through the ones that are not standard conditions. The first is that all of the conditions for their previous approval remain in effect for the life of this approval. Staff notes that there's no lighting proposed for this roof deck. So if there are any fixtures added, they do need to be downcast in nature. No portion of the roof deck or accessories on the roof deck, so umbrellas, things like that, should be visible from the public right of way. There is going down to the actual facade of the building where some alterations are being proposed. The applicant has LED lights on top of the cornice that serve as uplighting for the building. We are going to ask that they take those off. We also had some that went down, but I think it just got lost in translation that we wanted both the downcast lights on the storefront and the upcast lights on the building to be removed. And that because they do need the ADA ramp on the front of the building is outside of the property line, the applicant does need to seek a franchise ordinance to install that. This COA will serve as recommendation for that franchise ordinance to be approved, but we do have a condition on here that if for some reason engineering or city council makes them alter the design of this ADA ramp, it does need to come back to staff at a minimum for approval. And if it needs to come back, if it changes so radically that we feel it needs to come back to the HPC, gives you guys the ability to have it come back to the HPC. Everything else is a standard condition. I do also have the condition that we talked about that the applicant should change the stucco color on the bulkhead wall to a gray color to blend more easily, and we can work at a staff level to find the appropriate color for that. And then the other note I have here regarding the ironwork staff, we don't have any issues with the proposed ironwork. Typically, we would recommend something a little bit more modern, but the applicant liked the replicating diamond idea. And from what I could see, we hadn't approved that really anywhere else. Not to mention there's no historic ironwork that we're aware of on this building that we're not really replicating. So it's fine as is. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Does anyone have any questions for staff? Okay. In that case, we recommend that you approve a certificate of appropriateness with the conditions in the staff report and as read into the record.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have Paul and then Corey. Prior to a roll call vote, Alex and Umberto, we just want to make sure you guys are okay with those conditions.
We are.
Great.
Yes.
All right, we'll move to a roll call vote. Commissioner Sankamp,
Aye.
Commissioner Lewis. Okay, I see you saying, yeah, it didn't come through for some reason. Commissioner Blazak,
Aye.
Commissioner Cronin,
Aye.
Commissioner Amatuzzo,
Aye.
Commissioner Garriga,
Aye.
Commissioner Gunther is absent, Commissioner Sakong is absent, Vice Chair Gucciardo is absent, Chairman Gordon.
Aye.
Okay, there are 7 votes in favor, none against, and no abstentions. The COA with conditions is granted. Thanks, guys.
Thank you all. Pleasure.
Thank you.
No problem. Have a nice night. All right, Robert, if you want to go ahead and call the next application.
Yes, so moving to new business, I'll now call case H23-164. The applicant is James Burke Esquire on behalf of Ace B01 RE LLC owner. The address is 80 Sussex Street, and this application is for a certificate of appropriateness for the construction of a 3-story rear addition visible from the public right-of-way, facade restoration and interior renovations at an altered contributing Greek Revival building in the Paulus Hook Historic District built circa 1855.
Right, Jim and Jensen, are you guys good with, do I need to promote anyone else?
The client's here, Jeremy Zuta, but I don't know if he needs to be promoted yet.
Okay.
But he's here if a question comes up.
Yeah, if they decide they want to provide testimony, we can always promote them.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Let's just
Thank
go
you.
ahead and swear Jensen in.
All right, thank you, Maggie. Just for the record, Jim Burke, I'm the attorney on this matter. I'm here because it's an LLC, so LLCs require counsel before a tribunal or a board. So that's my role. I'm not the applicant. And we have one witness here, Jensen Vasel. He's the architect of record. And again, Jeremy Zuta is the owner of the LLC. He's here somewhere. If we need to bring him in, we can do that later.
Great.
Hello, Chairman. Hello, Board. Hello, Maggie. And hi, see Bridget over there. Hi, Bridget. So without further ado, Jensen, would you raise your right hand and we can have someone swear you in?
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And state and spell your full name for the record.
Jensen Vasel, Jensen, and V as in Victor, ASIL.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Staff notes that Jensen has been qualified as an architect in front of this board many times. And you should be good to share your screen.
Very good.
Jensen, you're an architect of record and you're in good standing as of today, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
All right, thank you. I just want to stipulate, I understand the applicant met with the neighborhood association. There was a considerable dialogue back and forth. So I just want to put that on the record, and then I'll turn it over to Jensen to walk through his plans.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Jensen Vasel. I'm the architect for the project at 80 Sussex Street in Paulus Hook Historic Preservation District. The building is a Greek Revival building circa 1855. The proposed project is for a interior gut renovation in a 3-story rear addition. The block is the lot is a mid-block lot that is 22 feet wide and 100 feet long. The building is currently there is no building next to the west of it. As you can see in the 1938 photo, that building was either damaged or destroyed at one time, so it does have some exposure obliquely from Sussex. So our proposed addition is conforming to the zoning ordinance. The addition is 11 feet deep, would represent 55% lot coverage. The building coverage, the deck would represent 5%, so that would get us to 60% permitted by ordinance. And then there's a set of stairs to the rear yard. Otherwise, the building is all proposed alterations are conforming. As you can see on the block, before I leave HBC 1, as you can see on the block, there are a number of additions at the rear. This is the open lot that you can see next to it, which would be 82 Sussex. And then there's a parking lot on the west fronting Washington Street. Our proposed site plan has a 3-story rear addition, as I mentioned, 11 feet, with a terrace on top of that which would be off the existing 4th floor, top floor. The top floor is not being expanded. There is no alteration to the existing front facade materials. There is a proposal for replacement of windows and doors. There is no change to the stoop, to the areaway, to the garden, or any of the fence at the front of the property. The rear of the property, there's a small shed, a large patio, which makes the existing lot coverage over 86%. That would be reduced and brought into conformity. So all of the rear landscaping, hardscaping would be redone. And we would have a privacy fence around the sides and the rear, as the detail shows on HPC 2 here. Also, the paving in the rear would be flamed bluestone paving with butt joints on QP. There are proposed to be a set of stairs that would be coming from the garden level. The garden level is down from the rear yard and the front, and those would be bluestone treads with concrete risers, concrete construction. And the deck, while I'm on this, on HBC 2, the deck would be Ipe wood over a steel structure, which would be painted black. Contextually, you can see the building sits on HBC 3. There are aerials from both the back and the side, showing the sort of the exposure, also showing a number of the additions going towards the east and both towards the west as well. Both buildings towards the west after the open lot do have additions, one full width, one partial. At the bottom, you can see the existing facade at Sussex Street obliquely with the side of the building exposed. And that, as I mentioned, that is not changing. Obviously, we would, by upgrading the HVAC system, we would get rid of all the window units and paint the hood and the head and the pipe for the electrical service. At the rear of the building, there's a fire escape currently. It's a 4-family building that, oh yes.
Jensen, hang on one second. They're just the parked cars, that's not part of the applicant's property, am I correct?
That is not.
Okay, all right. I just want to be clear for the board.
Sure. It's a 4-family building currently, which is why they have the fire escapes. It would be going to a single family. So the fire escapes would go away. The rear addition would be there. And then you can see there's a small addition now with stairs that go down to the garden level. And then finally a picture of the rear yard showing all the paving currently with retaining walls, built up retaining walls. For demolition, on HPC 4, showing interior renovation. And again, at the front facade, only the fenestration, the windows and doors. At the rear where we're doing the addition, we would maintain the returns in the original masonry envelope so that there would be a distinction, notation, a built notation of what was original and what is new. On the floor plans, going through from cellar to roof, the cellar is storage and mechanical. The garden level has a small bedroom, a bathroom, and sort of a recreation room with a wet bar towards the rear yard. On the parlor level would be your formal living, kitchen, and the deck off of that. and then a small set of stairs going down to the rear yard. On the third floor, the master suite, primary suite, with a laundry room and a bedroom in front with its own ensuite bath. And then on the fourth floor, 2 bedrooms with two ensuite bathrooms. There is no roof deck proposed on the principal. There is a terrace off of the rear of the third floor roof, which is the fourth floor. And at the roof, there's no primary roof deck proposed. It's a skylight with the AC condensing units and a roof hatch, 2 skylights in the roof hatch. The railing around the terrace would be a cable rail, which is depicted here on detail 1. And the deck system is a pedestal deck system, which has Ipe treads on top of plastic pedestals. On HPC 6, see the existing and proposed front facade. Again, the materials for the facade don't change. The configuration that's there exists. Just the windows would be replaced with in-kind with wood Marvin windows, 2/2 to match the 1938 tax photo. And painted the tricorn black color, which there's a detail later on in the set. Also, there is a proposed mailbox, which would be on the side of the stoop here, and a doorbell, which would be inset on the jamb of the door, so it's not visible from the street or into the masonry. No drilling into the masonry. The facade on the side, the existing side facade would be repainted. The stucco would be patched where needed and then repainted. This Benjamin Moore white dove. At the rear of the building, the proposed addition would be 4-inch thick Belden face brick.
I'm sorry, the
in a medium-
proposed addition? Would you repeat that, Jensen?
Sure. The proposed 3-story rear addition would be clad in 4-inch face brick. It's a Belden medium red. And the windows would be aluminum clad Marvin. So there would be a mixture of fixed windows and casements and sliding doors at the garden level, parlor level, and the third floor. There would be 3 sconces proposed on the back, 2 on either side of the parlor and 1 in the garden. Those would have shielding on the sides that are insert into the two sides for the neighbors, so no light spreads to the neighbors. On the side elevation at the bottom of page HPC 7, you can see the proposed cladding for the brick wraps around the side, so on all 3 sides of the addition it'd be clad in brick, even the sides that are right on the neighbor's lot line. Visually, it both gives a distinction between the original building and the new, and I think a much nicer facade material for the neighbors versus having just the plain stucco. And at the roof edge of the 4th floor, the gutter would be encased in a Yankee gutter, a wood clad Yankee gutter. Finally, at the top floor, the windows, the existing brick would be reused and cleaned, and then there would be a doors and a window added to the top floor. Next, we have the building section, just showing the addition in line with the other floors, as well as the deck and the stairs to the rear yard. There's also a sightline diagram here that shows that the AC units would not be visible from Sussex Street. And also a detail for the entry doors, which are 2-panel solid wood mahogany doors with the transom up above, which is consistent with some other doors on the block. This would be glass uppers and solid wood lowers. And then HPC 9 is the details for the front window and the door underneath the stoop. There's currently a door and a transom that would stay in that door and transom configuration. And these would be wood. This would be clad, the one underneath the stoop, but the windows that are visible would be wood. And then the rear facade is showing the clad wood doors and windows at the rear. That, as Mr. Burke mentioned, the client did meet with the neighborhood association, and I think we've addressed their concerns, specifically with the material on the rear of the addition, rear and sides of the addition. And that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Jensen, one question I had. We received a report from Maggie this afternoon. Did you have a chance to look at that? Were there any other changes or comments that you would need to make based on that report?
No.
Okay, thank you. Mr.
Any
Chairman,
questions?
that concludes our testimony.
Any questions for Jensen?
I just had a question about visibility from the end of the block. And for me, I guess it was just about, is that rear facade obliquely visible from the end of the block?
It is.
Yeah, go ahead.
It is. It was hard to get it's hard to get a clear picture. It is pretty far away, but you can see the rear of the building from Washington through the parking lot and past all of the trees and stuff. Yes.
Right, but it's 3 lots before. There's 3 lots at least, right, before this addition. Yeah, and multiple extensions.
That's correct.
On other buildings. Yeah.
I think it's safe to say that lot probably will be developed at some point. I can't imagine an open parking lot like that in a valuable block staying as a parking lot, but we don't know that to be true.
What about from the corner of the park that is just to the north of that parking lot? Is there any visibility from there?
From the north corner of that park, I'm looking as we're interactively doing it. I don't know. It gets blocked by this. I'll go back to this. It gets blocked pretty quickly by this large building here. So as you're coming, it looks, I guess visually, it looks like you can here, but you really can't in real life. It feels like this addition blocks it more. You can see. Yeah, I'm sure you can see it if you further down towards the middle. I know that.
And this isn't part of a row. It's not the corner. I'm looking at the front of the building. The cornice is higher. It looks like even the building that was demolished was on its twin. And I'm saying this because, and maybe you can go to the rear facade for just a moment.
Sure.
I think often I would maybe give some pushback on some of the windows sizes changing on the top floor. But I think in this case, with you keeping the lintels in the same location and you're just removing the areas in between, and then there's these, it's kind of unusual that you have these small looks like bathroom sized windows. So I actually, and it doesn't seem like it's part of a consistent row where all the openings are the same size on the top floor. When this first came in, that was one thing that caught my eye, but I think now that I've looked at it and you're taking this through, I don't think I have any issue with that at the moment. And what's the material? So you have brick piers on the addition, and then what is that material at the spandrel there?
So it's route and return ACM. So it's to match the window material. So it'll be a black aluminum.
And can you maybe take us through what's interesting to me? So on the window openings are all the same size on all 3 floors, but the top floor, or I guess the top floor of the addition is broken up differently. Can you just maybe take us through the thought on how you've kind of broken up the window openings and added muntins and all that into it?
Sure. I think it it goes back to the original building jams that were there. So we kept the two side jams which are further over than at the addition where we had an ability where we've got cabinets that go back to the to the rear wall. We had to bring them in a little bit further than where the existing jams were. I can zoom in on this too, that might help. So coming off of the, say, the kitchen, which is really a driver of it, where the cabinets die into the wall, we have the cabinet plus a little bit of space before the door starts. But on the original windows, they're further towards the side. The original openings were further over, so that they don't line up, but they're in a different plane too. So we felt like there was a ability to have some liberty there of being able to have the width change without having them smack right on top of each other.
Anyone else have any questions?
All right, hearing no other questions. We can move into public comment. If there are any members of the public present who would like to speak regarding this application, you can use the raise hand function at the bottom of your screen. Alternatively, if you're on the phone, you can press *9. Okay, staff sees no hands raised and recommends a motion to open and close public comment.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we can move into staff comments on this. Let me share my staff report. And bring us down to staff comments. So this is a pretty standard addition within the historic districts. It is, of course, visible both obliquely through the lot and also through the park. But that appears to be a standard condition for this block. The building on the opposite side of the parking lot also has a similarly sized rear yard addition that is visible from the public right of way and visible through the park. It doesn't appear to have an adverse impact there. So my assessment is that's not going to have an adverse impact here. The addition is of a similar size to other additions on the block. As you go further down the block, you can see 76 and 74 both have similarly sized additions as well. So we don't think there's going to be an adverse effect as a result of this application. And we recommend that the commission approve a certificate of appropriateness with conditions. And for what I think is the first time in a long time, we have only the standard conditions on this application. We did not need to add one in. So there are 5 standard conditions, and I'm happy to answer any questions. And if there are no questions, the recommended motion on this would be approval of a certificate of appropriateness with conditions.
I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second it.
Okay. Does the applicant accept the conditions in the staff report? Okay, great. So we'll move to a roll call. Commissioner Lewis?
Aye.
Okay. Commissioner Blazak?
Aye.
Commissioner Cronin?
Aye.
Commissioner Amatuza?
Aye.
Commissioner Garriga?
Aye.
Commissioner Sankamp?
Aye.
Okay, Commissioner Gunther is absent, Commissioner Sakong is absent, Vice Chair Gucciardo is absent, and Chairman Gordon.
Aye.
Okay, there are 7 votes in favor, none against, no abstentions. The COA with conditions is approved.
Thank you all, commissioners. Have a great evening.
Thanks, guys. Good
Thanks,
night.
everybody. Good night, all.
Take care.
All right. So we can continue down the agenda for this evening. All right. So I don't think we need to formally call these. We can just, next item in new business is the 2024 HPC calendar. Like I said at the last meeting, there are a couple of changes to this calendar. Of course, we are going back in person in January, so all of the meetings will be at 4 Jackson Square. And we are going from 14 meetings to 12. In order to accommodate going back in person, we are sharing the space on Mondays with the Cannabis Control Board, which means that we needed to accommodate our schedule. They needed to accommodate their schedule. I don't think going down to 12 is going to be a big deal. There have been a couple meetings, especially over the summer and stuff, where we had one application or didn't have a meeting at all. So I don't think it's going to be a big deal. But if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. If not, recommend a motion to approve the meeting dates.
I'm sorry, questions about the in-person meetings. So I believe, Maggie, you said that you would have computers for us there.
Yeah, so so basically what's going to happen is we are no longer doing hard copy. Back when we used to meet in person, you would get a hard copy set of plans delivered to your house at least the Friday before the meeting. We've gone paperless since then, so you guys will not be getting hard copy plans unless someone specifically requests them, in which case you will have to let me know. At that, you'll see on the calendar, there's a completion deadline. If you want hard copy plans for something, you have to let me know by that completion deadline date. And I will drop them off at your house. But other than that, the meeting room has 2 types of tablets at each station. So there's the standard dais screen where you'll be able to see whatever is on the screen that the applicant is presenting themselves. We also have each commissioner, it stays in the building. Each commissioner gets a Surface Pro where you guys will have access to the agenda, all the application materials, and the internet if you needed to pull something else up. Those will be in Holloway for you guys. They'll be there each set up for you at each meeting.
Will we need any kind of login credentials?
I'll have them all logged in for you ahead of time.
Perfect.
You don't need specific credentials for each of you. It's just kind of one server thing. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. We met with them last week. You don't want to be inputting these passwords by yourself. They are like 27 characters each.
Okay, I'm just wondering if there's any sort of major learning curve to getting set up on day one for us.
I don't think there's going to be. I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. And my hope is that it'll be just like accessing the application materials on your computer in front of you with the dais screen that'll show what the applicant is presenting on their screen.
Great.
We are going to be still recording the meetings and putting them online like we always have. We do not have the ability to do hybrid meetings. So we won't be able to go back and forth like that, but we are going to explore the possibility of live streaming, but we won't have that set up for the January meeting. Live streaming would be like City Council does, where it's just the feed.
So if anyone wants to testify, they have to come in person.
Yep. Yeah.
And with sunshine laws, I mean, and I'm just thinking, especially for winter, like let's say there's going to be a blizzard on the first night. There's no you would have to be in advance, like.
Yep. Yeah. If there's some kind of storm event, rain, whatever, cancel the meeting. You guys are off for the night. Okay. Any other questions about this?
Parking. So I saw the email. I responded to the email. Do we need any sort of pass or anything, or if we submitted our vehicle information, are we in the system?
So you're in this, if you gave I was going to bring that up during announcements. If you have not already, if you intend on driving to the meetings and you have not already given Sheila your information that was requested in that email, make sure you do that. I do not know if it'll be an individual parking tag or if it's going to be just the security guard has a list of names and you'll just give your name. They'll confirm the information matches. We've used both in the past and it's been perfectly fine both times. I do not know which way it's going to be yet, but I will know before that meeting.
And you'll give us instructions on like where, I mean, I haven't been there in a while, so like where to park, where even the
Yeah.
I haven't left my house in a while.
I will send out, we had a meeting, like a public meeting, that not a public meeting, but like a meeting there on Friday where I had to like make a map for people. So I will send you guys the map. But it's essential 4 Jackson Square is the building with the parking garage on top. So the parking garage entrance is on Orient Ave. You just go in there, you walk down the staircase, and the lobby that you exit out of the staircase into is the one that you walk into for the boardroom. You quite literally don't need to be outside if you're parking in the building. If you're taking mass transit, the bus stop is on the corner and light rail is the other side of the supermarket. So it's really accessible regardless of which way you choose to travel. Perhaps not as accessible as City Hall, but could be worse. Okay. Any other questions? If not, we should have a motion to approve the meeting dates.
Make a motion to approve the 2024 meeting dates.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I don't think we need to do a individual one for that. All right, next item is the steno contract. So this is for Bridget's contract. Nothing major on the changes from last year. Does anyone have any questions on the steno contract? If not, we recommend a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. So I had pulled announcements down to this portion of the meeting. Just, I was going to discuss most of the in-person meeting stuff, but we took care of a lot of that. 2 more just like quick announcement items just for all of you. Tanya asked to do this reminder. I don't think any of you need this reminder, but I will just put it on record. If a member of the public contacts you and asks for XYZ, whatever, in your capacity as a commissioner, please do not respond to any members of the public. We've had an increase of members of the public asking for commissioner information, and not just you guys, planning board, zoning board, whatever. Obviously, we do not give any of that information out, but on the off chance someone contacts you, just ignore them and let me know, okay?
Hasn't happened in a few years. I remember a gentleman wrote me a letter, handwritten, a few years back.
Yeah, I think I know who that was too, because I think I got the same letter. And then just the other note, I'm putting this out here more for my sanity than anything else. We are still hiring for Sarah's position. We haven't had any successful applicants, or we've offered to a couple people and have not successfully been able to hire someone yet. So if anyone knows of anyone who is qualified and is looking for a job, we would love to get that position filled and for me to regain an ounce of my sanity. It's posted on the city website. So and if anyone has any questions about it, you can let me know. That covers announcements. Just continuing with the rest of the agenda. I have no update on tabled cases. We have no demolitions to review at this meeting, so no resolutions to discuss, memorialize, no executive session, and that just leaves us with adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, it's 7:35 p.m. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Happy holidays.